We have risen from the ashes to school of asses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 532. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, he is the OG Undisputed Scholar himself. He is the one and only Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are we feeling tonight, sir?
I am feeling absolutely wonderful. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas, and I am just super excited. It's the final episode of Scholars of Wrestling for the year, and I just can't be any more excited. World's End, baby! I am super pumped for this pay per view, to the final pay per view of the year. Oh, bring it on!
And speaking of bringing on, we are going to be bringing on another undisputed scholar in his own right. He is your current reigning, but not quite defending this time, Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He is Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are we feeling tonight?
I am feeling good sitting on top of this mountain with my title, getting ready to become Scholar of the Year, as is my right, and watch all the people below and watch everyone below me just enjoy at World's End because they've got no shot. They've got no shot. I'm sitting here on top of the world as usual, and that's the way it'll stay.
And speaking of being shot,
You say you look
you,
down on me. I'm not down. I'm right on top of that mountain with you. Undisputed.
and speaking of on top, last but certainly not least, you know him, you love him. He is the one and only Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, is your neck still broken?
As I live and breathe. It was so unfortunate to be with the kids, ladies and gentlemen, on Christmas to see them and be like, "Oh, Scholar Daddy, why do you have a neck brace around your neck?" And I have to look at them and say, "Timmy, Juliana, Scholar Charlie did this to me." And he refuses to atone for doing this week by week. He unfortunately can't come on the show. My kids are wondering why I have this. I can't tell them the truth that there's a bad, bad man out there who's not winning the Scully Awards for anything. He's winning for being the heel of the year. But I hope everybody of my other fellow scholars had a Merry Christmas. Back to you, Jeffrey.
You've heard it here first, kids. Scholar Charlie has ruined Christmas.
For Scholar Daddy. I think that's the part that kind of threw me off the most. It's like, as the only scholar on this panel that is an actual daddy, I
Scholar,
don't know. I don't know how to take that.
Listen, when I win
Scholar
when I
Daddy.
win to be Scholar of the Year, I'm going to be asking who's your daddy.
I
Hey,
want
if
to see two.
hey, anyone who wins Scholar of the Year can officially be called Scholar Daddy if they want to.
So,
But
so
but
me
it
and
must be
Tarek,
earned.
so me and Tarek only.
Oh, them's fighting words. And we're not, and you know what? We're not even done yet because hey, just seeing the clock on the wall, it's time for one final prediction show for 2025. Of course, we're talking about AEW World's End. Gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready to
It's
throw
the
down?
end of the
The
world as we
world as
know
we
it.
know it. Do
That
you
should be
feel
the theme
fine?
song for the show.
I feel fine. Pete, is your neck feeling
Pete,
fine?
Pete does not feel fine.
I feel like Tony Khan. Remember when he had his neck? That's how I'm feeling.
He feels like Tony Khan trying to pick for the NFL draft after getting pile driven.
I'm in the fantasy championship in my league, and here I am just being like, come on,
Completely.
St. Brown, come on.
Once
I'm not
again,
gonna
they're
lie,
doing
I
it for the bit.
completely forgot about that. I completely forgot he did that.
And just like Scholar Pete, Tony
Oh
Khan is
God.
also doing it for the bit. If you've got a bit, you gotta run with it.
Yeah.
Kayfabe, brother. But anyway, enough of this tomfoolery. Let's get into some tomfoolery. This is AEW World's End 2025. Starting off with the first match on the card, on the pre-show match. We've got a women's tag team match. We've got the Sisters of Sin versus going up against Hyen and Maya World. Coming through big time after getting their shot after those two other ladies sort of quit out for no good reason at all. But be that as it may, Scholar Brian, as the current champion, you've got right of first pick. Are you going to take the pick or are you going to defer to the next person in line? What say you?
I will take the pick because this one is pretty simple. I've heard very good things about High End and Mile World. I believe that they are going to be signed imminently by AEW, but they are not signed yet. Therefore, I believe on this show, it's another, I believe it's another tryout match. And the people who are trying out in the tryout match never win. So I'm going to go with Sisters of Sin to win the pre-show match, but I do expect in the coming weeks, if we don't get the graphic, I do expect at least that those two will be signed to contracts within the coming weeks.
I concur. Sisters of Sin are on too much of a roll right now, but High End and Mile World, especially what we've seen this year, they are proven commodities at this point. They'll at the very least they'll show up and do business, which again, for a company that's looking to really reestablish themselves and just really get solidify who wants to be here and who doesn't. Yeah, they're going to lose tonight, but they will be they will be offered contracts sooner rather than later. They'll take the Willow Nightingale route and they'll be happy about it, and so will we. But in the meantime, I'm chalking this up to another victory for the Sisters of Sin. Pete, it's your pick up next. Which way you going?
Growing up on the playground in West Philadelphia, there was these sisters, and they were known as the Sisters of Sin. And basically, anybody who wanted to try out against them would have to go against them. A formidable opponent, you would say the Sisters of Sin is, and that's why they're winning this match.
And with that, Tarek, it's over to you. Do we have an accord?
We do have an accord. The Sisters of Sin are going to take the victory on this one. It's pretty much what you guys, like excluding Pete, said that this is basically a tryout match, and with the tryout matches, the ones that actually have the contracts are going to win. And then yeah, can't more add anything else to that.
And with that, we're moving on to the rest of the main card, starting off first with a team. I'm not quite sure how to describe this. It is the Death Riders versus the conglomeration and Tony Storm in an amazingly dubbed Mixed Nuts Mayhem match. I don't know where that name came from, but I
It's
love
a
it on
street
sheer
fight.
principle alone.
It's a street fight. They gave it a funny name.
Works for me. Even so, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm going to go with the conglomeration Tony Storm just because I anticipate there's going to be some shenanigans, and this could very well be the show where Scholar Bryant gets his wish and his prediction comes true. But it all starts with some shenanigans happening and the conglomeration and Tony Storm picking up the victory. Pete, what do you think?
I mean, for months, ladies and gentlemen, Scholar Brian has been saying, the downfall of the Death Riders, the downfall of the Death Riders. I've never agreed. I've never said anything on the matter, ladies and gentlemen. But nah, not today. Today ends it. Because today I'm going with a collaboration to take an end to the Death Riders. Skeletor, where you at?
Oh, I was expecting more of that one actually.
So was
It's
I.
like
That's hence the pause.
we were
Scar
paused, just
Tark, what do you
like
got?
yeah, we were just wait. It's like conglomeration, and we're just like okay, that was it. All right. I'm actually gonna go with the Death Riders to win this one. With what you guys are saying about the Brian and his speculation on the eventual downfall of the Death Riders, it's he's looking more at it as the downfall of John Moxley leading the Death Riders. And in order for that to really happen, the Death Riders have to really take the victory in this one to show that hey, they can actually succeed without him. So I'll go with the Death Fighters.
You are going with the Death Riders. Scarlet Brian, which team are you going for?
See, Skeletor just took the words right out of my mouth because
Undisputed.
I have never been a person who was like the Death Riders themselves are going to fall. No, I said that they're going to turn on John Moxley the moment that I've been wrong on what those moments were, but I agree with Skeletor. I think that at least at the very minimum, I don't think I don't think they actually do the turn tonight because I feel like that's like a main event turn. That's like a show. You end the show with the Death Riders turning on John Moxley. I feel like that's the thing, and that's not going to be the main event of the show tonight on this show. So, but I do believe you need to have at least Marina Shafir and Claudio look come out strong in this match, and I do believe that that will be the case. I believe the Death Riders take the win here, and we move on. We finally move towards the ending, the split, if you will. I don't. I am gonna say I don't think it happens on the pay per view because of the timing and what I said earlier. But the Death Riders need to win here for any of that to even make sense. That's it.
All right. And with that, we've got the final matches of the Continental Classic. First off, the first of the two semifinal matches, we've got Kazuchika Okada, the defending champion, going up against Konosuke Takeshita at long last. Pete, it's your first pick up here. Which way are you going on this one?
Takeshita.
That is one for Takeshita. I care to elaborate? What's your reasoning for that pick?
This is the match that's going to steal the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yes.
I mean, do you want an explanation, boys? It's going to steal the show. That's my prediction.
That's not a prediction, it's a spoiler.
Yes, Scholar Tark, which way are you going? Okada or Takeshita for this one?
Well, I'm gonna go with Okada to win this one to go to the finals because you're gonna have the defending champion uh, go into the finals, and with how they're building this whole story about how he's trying to get his big win to basically be Mr. Tournament. I think he needs to be in the finals.
Okay. Ryan, it's your pick. Which way you going?
Oh, I see.
This is obviously the toughest match on the card. I think we can all agree on
Oh,
that one.
absolutely.
This is the one you had to pick and choose for. And from the moment I saw the report that said we're gonna do more Takeshita Okada matches, this is not going to be the final one. I was like, okay, so this is the first one So we're gonna have some bullshit, and they've been building up very much that Okada is the king of these tournaments based on G1 performances and the Continental Classic last year and all that. So I think they're going to continue that. I think you're going to get a BS ending so that you can continue the Takeshita and Okada stuff. I don't think you have Takeshita beat him here if you're going to continue the feud in the end. I think you go. I think we get Okada in the final, so I'm going to go for that.
This is where we differ. I'm going to go with Takeshita just because first of all, I didn't hear anything that like this is going to continue, although I can definitely see it continuing. I'm going to go, well, they can continue. Number one, they can continue this feud with regardless of whoever wins this thing for whatever reason. But I'm going to go with Takeshita here to advance just because I feel like I I I can't really articulate it too much, but I really like the idea of Okada losing this, the belt going momentarily vacant for maybe like an hour or so, because that's what they did say was going to happen if Takeshita won, and then just starting off fresh, sort of setting a new kind of precedent for the Continental Classic since it is so young. Sort of breaking the thing where you're like, okay, the previous winner does not necessarily have to make it all the way to the finals and defend their title. It will set a new kind of precedent that gives not only the Continental Classic it's a new kind of zest and flavor and unpredictability, but not for nothing. Takeshita has been having a killer year, and it's not unpredictable to think he could take this. At least that's where my guess is going. So yeah, I'm going for Takeshita. But now we've got the other semifinal match of the Continental Classic. We've got Kyle Fletcher going up against Jon Moxley. Tarek, it's your pick up next. Which way are you going?
That's what I love about these Continental Classic matches because you're just looking at like all four of these guys are just you could put any mix of them for the finals, and this is just it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic match. Um, to go on with like the two biggest like story aspects of this year's Continental Classic tournament and how like Moxley is using this one is kind of like the be his redemption for his ascension into madness and the fact that this is looking like it's going to be like slowly pushing him to that face turn because you have the crowd really giving him that big baby face pop from this tournament, which will eventually lead to the I'm now sold on Brian. Like now at this point with Brian saying that the Death Riders will turn on Moxley and he keeps going with that argument. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Like the Energizer Bunny, it just won't stop. I just finally caved in and be like, you know what? I'm kind of leading into that too. I want to eventually see that happen. I'm going to go with Moxley to win this one. I'm just thinking of like of all the matches like you could have for the finals of this year's tournament. Moxley and Okada just seems like the best. Well, I don't say the best because I don't want to take it away from Kyle Fletcher. He's been an absolute highlight in this tournament. So, with that said, I just think that to keep going with the main storylines of essentially the downfall of Death Riders Jon Moxley, just have him look like oh he's finally going to get to that point. I think he has to continue and go into the finals of this tournament.
Right, Brian, it's your pick up next now. Which way are you going?
See, I could go into a soliloquy about why I think this is going to happen and all that, but it's a very simple fact that I don't believe that there should be rematches in the final of these tournaments. So I have a feeling I know where Pete and Jeff are going to go because I have a feeling that they're in the same boat as me. but we're going to have differing answers because, as I said, no rematches in in these tournaments. I feel, but while there are storyline aspects to why I think this is going to happen, it's also the no rematches rule. I'm gonna go with Moxley to win. I I also feel like you get him as close to that mountain as you possibly can, and then the downfall where the obvious conclusion of the finals that I'm thinking, and then you get him that close, the downfall, and then some point this week he gets taken out by his own people. I think that's the best use. I can see it happening anyway. I'll be happy for Kyle Fletcher. I'll be happy for Takeshka. This is just because there's no wrong answer here. They did the best. I think that this is the best Final Four storyline and wrestle wise that you could have possibly had in this tournament, and there are multiple ways it can go with storylines attached. I just think the best one and the one they've been building up for the longest is is this. So I'm going to go Okada Mox in the final.
I am very relieved to hear you say that because I was leaning towards Moxley too, but I didn't want it to be like, okay, everyone else goes Kyle Fletcher but me. But yeah, I'm gonna go with John Moxley for all of those reasons. I feel like if your theory is correct, Scholar Brian, that yeah, it's gonna result in him missing out on on going up to the big one, and then just like once he drops the ball, then it's gonna be blood in the water. But mine is not the only opinion. Pete, it's back to you. Which way you going?
Hello, Scholar Brian. This one's for you. Ah, we all talk about the hardest match to predict, and I think this is the hardest match for me to predict because I feel like my original answer was Kyle Fletcher. But Scholar Brian, what you said makes perfect sense. I can't argue with it. You're an undisputed scholar. You know these things. So I look at myself and I say, am I about to change my answer to John Moxley, even though I have Kyle Fletcher on the paper? But but would that affect my finals and we're changing it. We're pulling in an audible, ladies and gentlemen. I was gonna go with Kyle Fletcher, but no, we're gonna go with John Moxley. Thank you, Scholar Brian, because I want to disagree with you on some things, but you know what? I think you saved me, buddy.
I am always down to help.
And and with that, that will bring us to the finals of the Continental Classic. Brian, it's your pick up next. Your picks are Okada and John Moxley. How does it all end?
For my prophecy to be complete, Okada must pull a dick move, literally, and win the Continental Classic for the second year in a row, cementing himself as the greatest tournament wrestler until next year when someone takes it from him.
This one is very interesting because I think there's going to be the predictions are going to be all over the place for this one. I'm going to differ from you since obviously I didn't pick Okada. But yeah, I'm going to go with Konosuke Takeshita to take this one. That I think if there were going to get more matches between him and Okada and they'll keep that rift within the Don Callis family going, especially since Takeshita is another guy who's been having a really spectacular year. I can see them giving it to Takeshita and sort of building his resume, building that jealousy in between him and Okada, and then whether it's in AEW, whether it's in a New Japan ring, there's going to be some fallout and it's going to be glorious. But first, it's going to start here, and Takeshita is going to win the Continental Classic. Pete, it's your pick. Which one are you going with between Takeshita and John Moxley?
Kesha. Because I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, you're gonna have John Moxley get to the ultimate pinnacle, up to the redemption, and then good old Takeshita, who I went with before and said was gonna have a great match. I think this is also gonna be a great match. Like, this is why we're not gonna see this again, because you know what? It's gonna be just, yeah, it's a John Moxley type of match. You know what you're in for. It's why I think these up and down. We've been saying it, all of us, the four of us have been saying it. The Continental Classic, we all love it. We love the Continental Classic, and for these four men to be in the finals, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. So I'm so excited to watch these three matches and just watch them all. Sorry, my next scholar Charlie really did a number on me, boys. But I digress. Scholar Tarek, where are we at?
Pretty much, I think the one thing that we could just all agree on is that John Moxley is going to be in the final, but he's just going to be so close. He could taste it, and it's just all going to be taken away from him. We're going to have that crowning moment, as Brian said, of Okada being the king of the tournaments, only for it to be taken away from him next year. I'm going to go with Okada for the win, and to kind of go over what Jeff was talking about all the about the inevitable rematch. I actually think it's because Okada's going to pull some kind of dirty tactic to win tights or whatever, just to get that one win over Okada. And then on Dynamite, Okada's going to have that big special tournament, and he's going to basically have Takeshita shake his hand, and which will eventually lead to you look like Takeshita's going to do it, and then he gives the middle finger to Okada. That will eventually lead to their inevitable one-on-one match, eventual winner, possibly winner take all, probably at in New Japan. Have like the uh oh god, why am I blanking out on
IWGP.
IWGP, thank you. Title versus the once again unified championship because we're gonna just have that goddamn those two titles be one belt again, and I hate that. I still hate that. But yeah,
Uh,
winner take all eventually. But to get there, Okada has to win the tournament just so he could get that big championship celebration that Don Callis is going to give him on Dynamite. So Okada for the win.
All right. Now that's locked in. Next up, we've got Darby Allin coming back from injury versus Gabe Kidd. That's my pick up next. I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Darby's taking this. This one is gonna be the street fight of the night, and it's gonna be fun for me, but not so much fun for Gabe Kidd. So I'm gonna go for Darby for the win. Scholar Pete, how about you? You like the death matches?
I do like the death matches. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Mount Everest.
Mount Everest who?
Darby Allin for the win, y'all. Coming back.
I'm moderately confident that's not how knock knock jokes work, but who cares? Scholar Tarek, what do you like?
And I don't think that's how knock knock jokes work either. So, quick question. So, what exactly happened with Darby? Like, why was he hospitalized? Did they ever give or like was it
never gave a
legit?
legit, never gave a legit answer, but he did get hurt during the match that he had. It was like he was in the hospital overnight and he left and they turned it into what they turned it into.
Okay, so it's pretty much just they turned a real incident into story aspects. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Darby for the win. Just it's his quote unquote return match. So give Darby a win.
All right,
I'm not a fan
and
of death matches though.
I know you're not. And Full Gear had like three of them. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Scholar Brian, do we have an accord forming?
We have an accord. Darby needs to win here. He came off a huge victory against John Moxley and promptly lost to, and just he needs to start regaining momentum. So this is how you do that. And once again, Gabe Kidd is not under contract to AEW, and it doesn't seem like as a mercenary, basically for the Death Riders. I don't think he has a big enough role that he can just come in and start beating AEW talent. So Darby Allin gets the win here.
All right. That will bring us up to our next match. We've got for the AEW Tag Team Championships, we've got FTR defending against the Bang Bang Gang. Scholar Pete, it's your pick up next. Which way you going?
As much as I love me the Bang Bang Gang. I mean, who doesn't?
Who doesn't love a little bit Bang Bang Gang in their lives? Am I right?
I mean, it's an. Let me just tell you, you've heard great knock jokes, but let me tell you who's gonna win this match. It's FTR for the win, baby. The best tag team in AEW, retaining their titles as it should be. I mean, I remember meeting them on the shores of Lake Erie about 5 years ago. We were staying at a hotel. I can't remember the hotel name for copyright infringement, but basically we ended up going fishing, and what a time it was with FTR. I mean, and I said, you guys are gonna be the face of the tag team division at the end of AEW in 2025. And he goes, just wait till you watch our match against the Bang Bang Gang. I said, I can't wait.
Gotta love the old FTR storytelling. But storytelling aside, Scholar Tarek, it's your pick up next. Who you got between FTR and the Bang Bang Gang?
It just makes sense for FTR to retain the tag team championships because we're waiting for Cope and Christian to come back to take those tag titles off them. Simple as that.
All
That
right.
Lake Erie?
FTR.
Scholar
Huh?
Brian, do you agree? Do we have an accord forming, or are you going for the Bang Bang Gang?
As much as I am in the same boat as Scholar Pete, loving me some Bang Bang Gang, uh, yeah, there's really no reason to change the titles here. FTR wins.
And
Enough said.
I guess we've got an accord then, because I'm also going to go with FTR for the win. It is just, again, the Bang Bang Gang just don't seem like they're going to be strong enough to take them off of FTR. It needs a more established tag team. I'm not sure if that's going to mean we get a return of Adam Copeland and Christian, or Cope and Christian, whatever they call themselves these days. But it's got to be very soon. But yeah, the result is the same. We're all going for FTR. And with that, we're moving over to our next match. We've got, for the women's tag team titles, we've got the Babes of Wrath defending against Mercedes, I don't know, this is all scribbled up. Mercedes and Athena. Tarek, it's your pick up next. Which we got?
I'm going to go with the Babes of Wrath retaining because just to continue this downfall of Mercedes Monet, um, just
Who?
I'll don't worry. I'll let Pete answer that one for you. Um,
I'm just
but
saying I don't know what team you're referring to.
uh, I don't know. Now you just threw me off.
You're welcome. Continue.
Oh, you bastard. Yeah, I'm gonna go Babes of Wrath retaining, just so instead of we're gonna be at the point of Mercedes Monet's story of instead of gaining championships, she's just losing championships, and that's gonna just continue her downward spiral, which will possibly lead her to winning the women's world title at some point in the near future, probably some point next year. But yeah, Babes of Wrath for the win.
Ryan, comes around your way. Which way you going? Babes of Wrath or Athena and Mercedes?
Babes of Wrath. I can see this leading to a Mercedes versus Athena title, so that Mercedes can lose that TBS championship to Athena and give Athena more time on AEW television so that we can continue this losing titles bit that she's got going on right now. And in order to do that, I think that Babes of Wrath retain, and they paid Mercedes to do it.
I got to admit, I was going to go with the Babes of Wrath too, but I want to go with them now just out of sheer curiosity if they're going to go in that direction because I love the idea. Babes of Wrath, Pete, do we have an accord, sir?
Well, well, gentlemen, we come to the end of the year. The best time of the year, some say, with the holidays. And what a great holiday it's going to be. Then to see our girl be getting pinned 1, 2, 3. And her name is Mercedes Mooney. And she is going to lose to the Babes of Wrath. And it's going to be glorious because Happy New Year, Pete. Mercedes Mooney. Losing
You
time.
actually see the spit just shooting out of his mouth when, at that second go of Mercedes Monday.
I'm
And then just that first one was just him throwing a little musical note there. You really think me saying that Jeff was going to top that? Absolutely not.
Just watch by episode 540, Pete's transformation into Miss Piggy will be complete.
we start bringing the hair that she has, and we get a wig of Mercedes Monet. Just wear all the stuff. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't feeling good, but when my girl was on the card, I couldn't resist to give you one last one for the year, ladies and gentlemen. But Babes of Wrath, obviously, gonna retain. It's like you boys said with everything. It's the downfall. It's everything. Like it's this match does not worry me. I'm curious where you gentlemen go in a couple matches, and you'll know what I'm talking about in a moment.
Oh, yes, we'll get to that. But first, we've got the penultimate match before we get to the main event. We've got Chris Statlander defending her AEW Women's Championship against Jamie Hayter. Scholar Brian, which way you going on this one?
One's easy. Statman retains.
That is one for Stat. I'm also going to go with Chris Statlander for the win here. Uh, I don't know. I feel like Jamie Hayter just sort of, since you went all like 70s chic for some reason, I feel she's lost a little bit of her luster. I and I just don't feel like she's anywhere. If we got the old Jamie Hayter, I'd say that there was a good, strong, solid reasoning to be had for her to beating Chris Statlander. But now this ain't it, Chief. I'm gonna go with Stat to win. Pete, what say you?
I mean, when back in my 20s, when I used to be bar hopping in the city, there was always this girl that everybody saw in the clubs. They called her the Statlander because she was just irresistible and she always wins. And one day, my buddy got the courage. His name was William Shakespeare. And William Shakespeare goes up and he gives her a sonnet. And you wouldn't even know? She said to him, just you watch on December the 27th when I retain my AEW Women's Championship. And William Shakespeare said, I'll call it Macbeth.
Galataric, make heads or tails of this, please.
I honestly thought he was going to go in a different direction. I thought he was going to go the Ghostbusters 2, that he was having a drink at the bar alone. And this alien approached me, and her name was Chris Statlander. She bought me a drink. That's where I thought he was going with, but I bringing in Billy Shakespeare just completely threw me off guard.
Billy
Um,
Shakespeare. What are we on a first name basis with the man?
Some of us are.
What's up,
You don't
Billy?
know.
Cards on Thursday. I'll see you at the
but I'm gonna
watering
go. I'm
hole
also gonna
next
go with
week.
Statlit. I would love to see Jamie Hayter win the championship just to kind of regain some momentum that she had before, like pre-injury. But I'm with Jeff. I just don't see it either. I'm gonna go with Statlander to retain.
And with that, that will bring us to our final match on the card. We've got a fatal four-way match for the AEW World Championship. We've got Samoa Joe defending against Swerve Strickland, Hangman Page, and a returning MJF. And just given the way what we saw right now, I think there's a strong case that can be made for putting the title back on MJF right away. This can go a couple different ways. I personally wouldn't want to rush this, but it's a solution I can see them going with. So yeah, I'm going to go with MJF to get back the AEW championship. But Pete, do we concur or do we diverge here?
All right, I've been serious this whole prediction, so let's be a little bit silly here.
Have you?
The silliness is this. MJF is winning the AEW World Championship because the fact of the matter is I don't see Joe holding on to the title. How they've been shoehorning MJF into this fatal four way and just the roller coaster it's on, you cannot deny that at the end of the day, one of the biggest stars in AEW is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and he delivers every time. I'm still thinking about that good old Diddy promo, and that's because it's just the Samoa Joe, like that whole promo where it made everybody look good. How this outcome of this match happens, I could not tell you. Will there be dirty tactics? Probably. But at the end of the day, between having it be Samoa Joe, who's right now I just feel in, and it's no respect to the man. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I've met the man. I think Unbreakable 2005, I always bring it up on the show. One of the best matches as a wrestling fan you can watch. But at the end of the day, he's just holding the title. You're not going to give it back to Paige. You can't give it to Swerve. Like there's only one answer here, and the answer is MJF. Now, back to being serious. Scholar Tark, where are you at?
Didn't you being serious the whole time, and now you're being serious with MJF, and now it's back to being serious.
He said silly. He's being silly with MJF, and now it's back to being serious.
Oh,
Listen
I
to the
didn't.
man.
I am listening. I just
Appreciate it,
I'll,
Scholar Brian.
whatever. MJF to win the championship. To make that statement to, as he said to Adam Page, why would he do this? But to do this to take everything away from him. And yeah, when he's at it like at the point where it's the most challenging for him, MJF to win the championship, and I think he's a good person to hold the championship to start 2026.
And with that, Brian, it's all down to you. Do we have an accord?
No one says the most obvious reason for this to happen. MJF needs to win so that contract means something. If he doesn't win, that's the second time in a row that contract has been cashed in and has failed. Why would anybody want that contract in the future? Why would anybody care about that match and getting that contract? You need to set that you need to set that up as something to actually fight for and want. And in this case, you can't have the first two uh, contract signings of that particular contract. You can't have them both be losses. MJF needs to win here in order for that contract to mean something in the future.
All right. And with that, those are our predictions for AEW World's End 2025. But now is the point of our show where we're opening it up to you, our fellow fans. What do you think is going to happen at AEW World's End? Is there going to be some breakups? Are there going to be some title changes? No matter what you think, we want to hear from you all across the internet. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, whatever you got. And if you want to join in the conversation more directly, you can check us out at our link tree in the description box right below. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling for all of our relevant social media links and much, much more ways to support the show. And with that all being said, that is not just our show, that is also our 2025. But before we go for the year, any parting messages or thoughts, feelings, opinions from any of you regarding 2025 or World's End? What say
I
you?
will I will just say this. Tune in next week for the Scullies, where you can see the joke that was just played on a bunch of people on the screen.
Oh boy, how mysterious.
I I would just again like to urge the Scholar fans out there to show your love and support of what Scholar Charlie did to our beautiful neck because we are one. You and me, Scholar fans, are one. And just let Scholar Charlie know just the awful, 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 awful things. He, he, he Triple H me. He Triple H me hard.
Scholar Tark, do you have anything else to add to this horrific tragedy that we're seeing before you?
No.
Well, good, because neither do I. But we're going to have plenty to say next week when we reconvene for the Scully Awards. You know we're going to be there, and you know we're going to break down it all, because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
You're
welcome.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
See you all next week for the Scully Awards.
Happy New Year.